now that the deadline is passed and we can stop asking you about if you think you're going to get traded?
Yeah, I'm fired up about that.
What does it mean what are your thoughts on being here?
Yeah. Happy with exactly where I'm at. Everything typically happens for a reason. I think that, ultimately the right move was made, and here I am. So, just going to focus on my next start and, keep going from there.
You and your agent stood up for your career, which seems to be widely admired by most. How do you feel about having done that stealthily and where it leaves you with the White Sox going forward?
I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I thought it was good, but no one wants to hear what I have to say.
Ultimately, whether a deal went through or not, I don't think was dependent on that being said or not. I think that that any team would see the amount of innings that I threw last year and find it reasonable. So yeah, I think that it was ultimately the right call, and that's about it.
But getting pushback from people all over the place for a guy that just works hard and ends a baseball player,
right.
It's not easy, right? It wasn't easy for you.
No, but that's kind of the nature of the game, I guess when as baseball players we have a little bit of notoriety, so if I wipe my ass the wrong way, I think someone would say something about it.
What was the period like for your family overall? Your wife, I guess, in particular. Is it tough when?
It's challenging, especially because ultimately for me, it's like I get on a plane and I'm somewhere else. She would have to move everything out of the apartment, set up a new apartment. We've got a dog, figure out what to do with the dog. So it's a little bit more stressful on the family than it is for the player. But yeah, I think once the deadline came and went, a lot of stress was taken off of her shoulders.
What were your conversations and interactions like with Chris over the past few days?
He was a busy man. He was on the phone a lot, so I didn't get to see him a ton. But yeah, I really haven't seen him a ton.
He had some comments talking about your guys' relationship being good. Is it good even after the maybe some communication confusion?
I believe so. Kind of like I said, about the innings that I had last year. I think that anybody could understand where I'm coming from in that regard. I think it may have come across as greedy to some, but I think those in the industry realize that it's logical to have that line of thinking.
What did you kind of learn? What did you learn going through this whole process?
Not much. Maybe need to throw away my phone next time.
What about the plan going forward? Is there anything you can let us know about that?
No. Whether a workload conversation happens at some point, I imagine that I'll be involved in that. But at the same time, I'd rather not be on the forefront making the call. For me, it's I want to go out there and pitch, and whenever I'm done, take the ball. Maybe I'll be pissed, but that's I'd rather that way than knowing kind of what I've got going into the game, and then I feel like I'm trying to be a little economical with my pitches, and maybe throwing some, just trying to get out of an inning, trying to get a ground ball, instead of just blowing heaters like I typically would.
Is there a number in your mind that we should, let's
of
stop?
innings? No.
Is it kind of logical to think of it this way too, that look, the team's probably going to ramp you down some here down the stretch, like we're talking about it here, but in the same way, that's what you were kind of standing up for yourself. Like, if the team's willing to do it in a non-contending situation, it only makes sense that you would do it for yourself.
Right. Ultimately, I think that we've kind of just been playing it by ear, just based on feel throughout the season. Whether that changes or not, I'm not sure. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that's a good way to go about it. I realize that ramping down maybe to prevent you from ever getting from ever getting to the point of, I'm starting to feel it a little bit. Maybe I need a day. I think that if we ramp down, maybe we avoid that. I mean, who knows? I'd rather just throw as many innings as I can, so that next year I could just be set free.
What's the support been like from your teammates through all this?
It's been great. Yeah, it's been awesome. We got an incredible group of guys in here, and guys that have always had each other's backs. So I think that when things came out, everyone was very supporting, and I continue to be supporting of them as well.
When Michael talked to us Monday when he left, he said he thought this team was closer than people think. Tommy Pham said that a couple times, I think. I mean, it's tough to say looking at the record, but do you see that in here being part of this whole thing?
Yeah. I think that we've put an emphasis on, trying to create culture in the past, but I think this year was kind of something that just happened naturally. We just had a good group of guys that enjoyed being around each other. Guys from all different, walks of life, I suppose, guys that have different hobbies and stuff like that, but it made everybody unique, and I think ultimately, made it a whole clubhouse.
What about closer to success? Do you see that too with this team? I mean, that's, that the record's bad, that it may not be as long as people think to get back into, contention or competitiveness.
Yeah, I feel very similar.
In the future, if you have any advice for other players, there's nothing wrong with standing up for your career, is there? I mean, obviously that's what you and your agents were doing here, with all the hard work and the problems that you had in the past, right?
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to.
With you guys kind of knowing for a while that, guys are going to leave at the deadline, is there a bit of an exhale now that it's over with to kind of focus on what your goals are for the last 2 months?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, probably since May, there's been talk of guys on the trade block, which is pretty early. So, we've been dealing with that for about 3 months now. So, yeah, I'd say so.
How tough has it been, 16 in a row, as a group, as a team, as major league players? How tough is that to kind of fathom every day in and day out, right?
Yeah, about as tough as you could imagine.
Yeah. Unforeseen, right? I mean, you wouldn't have seen anything like this back in spring training, right?
No.
Do you expect similar conversations about, what the team might do with you and your future to come up in the winter?
Who's to say? Well, once the off season hits, I mean, you never know what can happen. So right now, I'm just focused on getting through the season healthy, and until then, yeah, who knows?
Chris said he'd be open to opening dialogue about extension in the off season. Is that something you'd be open to as well?
Yeah, I'm open to anything.
Thanks much.
Thanks.
We all silly like the mayor.